Hello, welcome, and thanks for joining us on this edition of News 2. I'm Sandra Gumansing. Topping on Newscast tonight, one day away from the certification of the results of the 2014 primaries, the Board of Elections in both districts find themselves busy, and not just with the counting of absentee ballots. In a special meeting Monday, the St. Thomas St. John Board discussed concerns from a candidate and dealt with some personnel issues. News 2's April Knight has more.
With one day left before the certification of the primaries, the St. Thomas St. John Board is discussing one candidate's appeal to do the whole thing over. The St. Thomas St. John Board perused a letter from gubernatorial candidate Fonzie Donistorg listing 20 concerns on the conduct of the 2014 primaries. Among Donistorg's concerns was why the primaries were not rescheduled. According to Donistorg, Vitima had received a recommendation from the Emergency Operations Center to postpone the primaries because of the weather. Donistorg was also concerned that the results from St. John were transported to the election offices not by a polling judge, but by board chairman Arturo Watlington and an admin assistant. Donistorg is more than 930 votes behind Donna Christensen and has refused to concede until the August 12th certification. The board also discussed personnel concerns involving St. Thomas St. John Deputy Election Supervisor Nefredija Barbell. Barbell has recently accused Watlington of bullying and assault, including snatching some ballots from her hands and piling them with the ballots to be counted, even after she voiced concerns about them. Watlington stated that Barbell was incapable of doing her job.
It gets very emotional. We had a disagreement over some ballots. She wanted to keep them in her position, and it needed to be in a mail-in ballot box. And once she in fact gave them to me, I grabbed them out of her hand and I put them in the ballot box. She started to scream.
Another board meeting is set for August 27th that would likely revisit these personnel issues. Reporting for News 2, I'm April Knight.
The board also approved their budget for fiscal year 2015, amounting to $412,000, $225,000 of which is earmarked for the general elections. 3 suspects are still on the run after a brazen mid-morning heist Saturday of a local jewelry store. Thieves made away with cash and jewelry from Crucian Gold, and it's possible that armed robbery is connected to another recent heist. News 2's Erica Parsons has more.
2 employees who were inside Crucian Gold jewelry store when it was robbed Saturday morning are still shaken.
They are taking some time off to sort themselves out and recuperate.
The pair were 2 young women who were held at gunpoint around 10:30 Saturday when thieves entered the store.
We had 3 masked armed individuals come into the store and hold 2 of our staff at gunpoint and tie them up and put them on the floor with a cardboard box on their head. And they did go off with a certain amount of cash and gold. Luckily, these days we're very conservative with our gold inventory. But the real trauma to all of us was what they did to these 2 young ladies.
Police are combing through surveillance videos taken in the area to see if they can figure out just who was behind the brazen daylight heist.
We do have forensics here that have gone through our camera system and have gotten some very clear footage.
24 hours before Saturday's robbery, thieves hit a Mid-Island credit union, and police suspect the 2 cases may be linked. There were 3 suspects in the credit union holdup Friday morning, and the thieves were seen leaving in a red sedan.
There's a lot of similar things, the same vehicle and some other things. I don't really know all of the details.
Crucian Gold has been around for decades, and the popular jewelry store is well known for their Crucian hook. Now the owners just want help to reduce the crime.
There's so many things that we have to do, so much work we have to do as a community to make our homes and our streets and businesses all safer. The one thing that if I could implore and ask the police and anyone that has power to do this is to get the guns off the streets.
Erica Parsons, News 2.
No one else was in the store at the time of the robbery. Police have no suspects in custody at this time and continue to investigate both the credit union robbery and the Crucian Gold heist. Just a correction, Crucian Gold is well known for the Crucian knot, not the Crucian hook. Now, meanwhile, on St. Thomas, 2 minors who were involved in the robbery of Imperial Jewelry Store will be tried as adults. Carlos Nigels, 17 years of age, Ingalls rather, 17 years of age, and Jaleel Warner, 18, will now be tried after the other 4 defendants in the robbery, namely Shaquem Fredericks, Joaquim Gabriel, Alvin Thomas, and Shefton Newton, were found guilty by a federal jury in July on various robbery-related charges. Ingalls and Warner are facing charges of first-degree robbery, first-degree assault, third-degree assault, grand larceny, conspiracy, and possession of an unlicensed firearm. Bail was set at $100,000 for both defendants. The Economic Development, Agriculture, and Planning Committee met in the Lowette's conference room on St. Croix to consider a bill to allow for the cultivation of hemp and a bill to conduct a feasibility study of the production, marketability, and medicinal value of moringa trees and the potential commercial value of hemp and bamboo production. Department of Agriculture testifies.
The Department of Agriculture supports Bill number 30-0405, which provides for such meaningful studies as a part of the necessary planning toward the development of a commercial hemp industry in the territory. The results of these research investigations will naturally dictate the subsequent steps to be pursued.
Puerto Rico airport officials say an engine fire forced evacuation of a New York-bound JetBlue flight before it could take off on Saturday. JetBlue confirmed Sunday that Flight 704 from San Juan, Puerto Rico to JFK Airport experienced a bird ingestion into number 1 engine, causing an engine fire. Puerto Rico Airport Authority official Rolando Padua said in a statement that the 186 passengers aboard were evacuated after the pilot halted the A320 at 7 p.m. before it could take off. Firefighters at the Luis Muñoz Marin Airport then extinguished the fire. He said 3 people suffered minor injuries because of the emergency evacuation. Flight 704 had been scheduled to land in JFK Airport at 10:37 p.m.
And once it happened, there was a blast, the plane short stopped. People started screaming, and people were trying to bust open the emergency exit with their arms, elbowing it open. The flight attendants came and held everybody back, and then the plane said, free Victor, something Victor, which means evacuate the plane. And then they opened the doors, opened the chutes, and we slowed down.
In other news, the U.S. is stepping up its help of Kurdish fighters battling the militants and watching political developments in Baghdad, as U.S. fighter pilots carry out airstrikes against Sunni militants controlling a large swath of northern Iraq. President Obama said there is no American military solution to the crisis in Iraq and that the only lasting solution is for Iraqis to unite and form an inclusive government. Meanwhile, Iraq's president nominated a new prime minister to replace Nouri al-Maliki, who says he won't go quietly and insists on a 3rd term, deploying some troops to emphasize his point. Stay tuned to CBS News with Scott Pelley for more on the Iraq crisis. Keeping our eye on the economy, upscale retailer Barney's has agreed to pay out more than $500,000 to settle allegations of racial profiling. The New York State Attorney General announced the agreement today and said the flagship store will also hire an anti-profiling consultant. Last year, several minority customers complained they were singled out at Barney's as suspected shoplifters. Here's a look at the New York Stock Exchange with our Stock Market Watch. The Dow, Nasdaq, S&P all up. The Dow 16, Nasdaq 30, S&P 5. Coming up on News 2, our Summer Fun segment, the VI is the best place to take the plunge. We'll explain why. Even USA Today voted the top spots to do so. Plus, the Frederick Said Health Center will be offering some free health screenings as part of a week-long celebration of National Health Center Week. Now is the best time to get checked out. Diving in the VI is easy and accessible, not to mention very interesting. In June, USA Today News voted these VI sites as the top diving sites: St. Croix, Frederiksted Pier, on St. Thomas, Cow and Calf, St. John, Eagle Shoals, St. Croix, Butler Bay, and also in St. Croix, Cane Bay. With more than 500 species of fish, 40 types of coral, and hundreds of invertebrates inhabit the underwater terrain, octopus, seahorses, and moray eels, hawksbill, green and leatherback turtles call the USVI home and can be seen on many a dive. How about becoming certified? Most dive operators teach a full range of PADI, a Professional Association of Diving Instructors, and NAUI, National Association of Underwater Instructors, courses from beginner scuba to instructor training. Specialty courses such as underwater photography are also available through many operators. Training for those with physical disabilities is also available at several dive outlets. The Summer Olympics in Rio de Janeiro are still 2 years away, but in St. Croix, the annual Bartender Olympics took center stage at the new Deep End Bar. The event, a major fundraiser for the St. Croix Animal Welfare Center, featured 5 bartending teams. The competition featured an original named animal drink, a Greyhound martini race, a bar-related trick, and 3-legged race with drinks. The Honey Badgers from 40 Strand Street was the winner of the competition, and the overall winner was the St. Croix Animal Welfare Center.
Loads of fun, and the reason it's so important to the animal shelter is it shows us how much people in the community care about the animals on the island. It's wonderful to see the outpouring of support that we've had here today.
Meanwhile, the 14th annual Bar Wars competition was held at the Beach Bar on St. John, another fundraiser. Proceeds from this event will be donated to the Family Resource Center, which helps victims of crime in St. John, St. Thomas and Water Island, and domestic violence. Now, Bar Wars happen each August. The event tests the bartending and waitressing skills of participants. Each team has to work together to create, serve drink beverages, all while completing a funky obstacle course that extends out into Cruise Bay. Teams were required to hula hoop, swim, kick, and more, all without spilling a drink. Congratulations to Banana Deck's victory over last year's champs, High Tide. Well, if you missed it, DPNR issued an advisory on Friday to warn the public to refrain from swimming at the beaches after all of the recent rain. The Division of Environmental Protection expects negative impacts caused by the storm water runoff. They say there may be an elevated health risk as a result of increased concentrations of bacteria. Areas such as stormwater impacted beaches, as well as manholes, guts, puddles, and drainage basins should be